This is Tower Dive, a League of Legends podcast.
Welcome to Tower Dive, Episode 2. You've made it. I, of course, am Captain Hooks, and with me, as always, is Pan the Man.
Hello.
And as I said, this is Tower Dive, the all-encompassing League of Legends podcast that will blow your mind and explode your heart.
Whoa.
I don't even know why I said that, but whatever, who cares?
That's intense.
It's a pretty intense show.
We're passionate.
But, yes, we are passionate, and we give a shit, and that's all that matters. And hopefully you care, too.
Maybe more than one shit. Maybe two.
Maybe multiple shits. I don't know. It depends on what I ate for dinner.
But definitely people shits, not rat shits. Important shits.
Yes, important shits.
Yeah.
I know. We give human-sized shits about all of the things you care about because we are you. We're the average player just like you are. He's not Dyrus. I'm not Lustboy. We don't play for TSM.
Good.
Well, I don't know about that. I would like a fat check from TSM.
That's a good point. I rescind my previous statement.
Well played. After further thought.
Redacted.
Yes. Anyway, so how was your weekend?
Not good. It was rough.
That's right. You had
had
food poisoning, didn't you?
I got food poisoning.
Yes, that sucks. I've had food poisoning.
It was really bad. I don't want to go into details. I don't need to relive.
I don't want you to go into details. What few viewers that we have in our infant state will not be helped by you going into great detail about how the perils of food poisoning.
I scare them away.
Scare them away.
Although we've already talked about shit quite a bit, so
we're going with a much more graphical format. Wow,
Anyways.
I can just see it. So this week we had the first week of the LCS playoffs. We touched on them. Well, we touched on them. We went into great detail on them during our last show. We're not going to go into too much detail because we already pretty much killed it with that. But we will let you know where the respective divisions are at.
Yeah, and if you want to watch the games, please check them out. They were okay. Most of them pretty one-sided. Some of them are worth checking out. All of that is on the LOL Event VODs Reddit. You can even check out preferred games and games that ended up being really entertaining.
Much to our chagrin, the CLG Liquid game ended with Liquid absolutely stomping CLG.
It was bad, you guys. Real bad.
I can't believe it. I'm surprised not that Liquid won because they have a talented roster. They're just a poorly run team. But to just 3-0 CLG, who was considered a strong team, is really
the games weren't even close.
Yeah, it's really disconcerting to see that. I mean, CLG is in a worse place than I think people believed.
Well, they've looked so strong all split.
Yeah.
And to just choke at playoffs.
Well, they lose when the games matter, I guess.
That is true, yeah.
On the other side of that bracket, Team Impulse, my Dark Horse darlings, 3-1 Gravity, and let's be fair, the one game they lost, Zhao did not use Masteries.
Yeah, I was wondering why he wasn't playing very aggressive, and he was getting handled by Keen.
Did not use Masteries.
Yeah.
Interesting tactic. I don't know how this one's going to play out, Cotton.
It's a bold move.
Bold move indeed. Did not pay off. We're going to call that a 3-0 on a technicality that they gave up one.
The 3-1 with an asterisk.
Definitely. Big asterisk next to it.
Big asterisk.
So Impulse will move on to play TSM, which should be, I think, a strong game because it
should be a really good game.
I think those teams match up nicely because the strengths of Impulse are not the strengths of TSM. And vice versa. Well, because Zhao is a really passive, controlled, composed player, and Bjergsen's very aggressive.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's where the matchup is interesting. Actually, is those. I mean, it's still a strength. He's still one of the strongest members on their team.
Oh no, but what I'm saying is that I like the fact that you're not going to be like, oh, it's going to be all mid lane all day because the rest of the team suck. It's not going to be like that because Dyrus and Impact play very different games. Rush and Xmithy are very different junglers. Mm-hmm. Bjergsen and Zhao played such a different style, and the bottom lanes are very young versus a very I don't want to say an aged lane, but a smart lane. Yeah, I mean, Lustboy is absolutely. Lustboy is one of the best supports in America right now. And I mean, Wild Turtle's a little crazy, but he's a great player. So it's definitely
one of the best 80s in America right now.
Exactly. I mean, so it's it's definitely it's an intriguing matchup to say the least.
It'll be a good game, worth watching.
Yeah. On the other end, it's C9 versus Liquid. I hope C9, dumpsters Liquid and they get a little taste of their own medicine. Because
they shake off their funk.
Let's be fair, the dream is still fourth for Team Liquid.
Yeah, that's really what we want.
That's all we're looking for.
Fourth place, the dream.
Absolutely. On the other side of the pond, H2K handled Copenhagen Wolves. That was depressing because I had expectations from them, and they're just so inconsistent for really lack of a better word. I mean, I don't even want to give them too much time on this because they definitely hurt my feelings. They butt hurt me. I like Freeze and I feel bad. I mean, they're finally they stay in a split finally, but that sucks. And on the other side, Unicorns of Love played Gambit, where you looked like after game one that Gambit was just going to absolutely just smear their faces in poop for the entirety of that playoff.
Yeah. Gambit looked really strong.
Gambit won the first game like 21-4.
And the other games were like the opposite for Unicorns of Love.
Unicorns of Love, like we said last time, they win and lose games in Champion Select because I think sometimes they're their own worst enemies with their bizarre picks and their strange comps. Like the first game they went, Kog'Maw mid. It's just a really strange, like it was a risky comp that didn't pay off because they just got absolutely just shreked the whole game. Never at any point did they have even anything resembling a lead. I mean, I think what they say that Vardags got his Phantom Dancer at 31 minutes.
That's very slow.
That is, for those of you who don't play that are listening, that's bad.
Very.
That's
slow.
That's your second item.
Yeah.
So Unicorns of Love will move on and play SK Gaming, and H2K will move on and play Fnatic. Both of those games should profile to be pretty good. H2K is kind of the dark horse team that continues to surprise people despite the fact that they did win 10 games or 11 games this season.
Yeah, well, I think it's because they had such a rocky beginning, and they've just been steadily improving over the course of the entire split.
I can definitely agree with that. I mean, every time I think they're going to lose, they don't.
Except when I play them in fantasy, and then they lose very hard.
Well, yes. But that's because you are bad luck.
Cursed.
You are cursed.
Well, I can't play any C9 or CLG members.
Nope. Yeah, and then so Fnatic H2K should be really good because, Fnatic is, this crazy, bizarre, young team that just sort of throws shit against the wall and see what sticks when they play, it feels like. But it's great, and it's fun, and it keeps things fresh. And SK is, the controlled, poised, great old man he's like the old fighter that you think has nothing left.
I kind of disagree with that. I think SK right now is just they have the one play.
I just meant as an organization. They're the organization that won't go away.
No, but the players there are still pretty new.
Yeah. New for being on SK, not really new for being players other than Fox.
Forgetting's only got one split behind him.
Yeah, but that's because he was a jerk-off.
Well,
it's not the game's fault, it's his fault. Other than Fox, really, they're all pretty... I mean, they're experienced players, but I digress. Those are the playoffs that are coming up. Like I said, we don't want to really go into too much detail because the really good games are going to be coming up now, and the ones that matter, where we see who's playing for first place, who's going to be the split champion, which should be exciting to see. I am hoping for Fnatic in the European side and holding out the dream for Team Impulse in North America.
No, Cloud9.
I don't know. I just don't feel it.
More split championships. You're never going to win Worlds, but you can be king of North America.
I just don't feel it. But see what this does with this little playoff blurb that we kind of threw it brings us in a beautiful segue to roster moves.
Yeah.
And the inevitable moves that are going to happen facing this split.
Rooster moves.
The smartest decisions that most people make in League of Legends is definitely after having a season that you consider subpar is to change a majority of your roster in order to fix that, because that usually works.
You want to change your team up as close to the next split as possible, too, so they get as little practice, playing together.
And
That's
ideally,
really how you turn it out.
And ideally, you'll pick people who have a humongous language barrier with your team as well. So in those 2 weeks that you have to, create a team, you also have no idea what they're saying.
Yeah, and if they don't have a huge language barrier, pick someone who's been around for a really long time, but has never really been that great or performed that well on your team previously.
Exactly. Those are basically. I mean, that's Tower Dives 101 to start a pro team.
Yeah,
right there.
And win a
write
split.
it down. Yeah, just write that down, mark it, put it on a sticky note, put that sticky note on your monitor, and go build your team. And we will see you in the LCS.
Yeah.
So the roster moves. Number 1, I mean, this blew up on Reddit today. I believe Richard Lewis broke it. Surprise, surprise.
It was on Daily Dot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Surprise, surprise, Richard Lewis broke some important news. Reckless. Potentially, possibly, probably not going to be with Elements in the summer split.
Jacob Wolf, not Richard Lewis.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh,
Jacob
my mistake.
Wolf.
I am sorry I gave credit to Richard Lewis when he did not deserve it. Elements, Reckless, no longer seemingly going to be in bed together. Which, I mean, is anyone really surprised?
I'm not surprised. I thought it was going to happen mid-split.
I thought it was going to happen mid-game, where he was just going to get up and leave.
Take his keyboard and go home.
Just sort of be like, peace, I'm out, bitches.
Yeah.
Not surprised. Their game didn't cater to him. He didn't cater to the way they play.
Yeah, and he's been pretty vocal about it, too.
Yeah, and you could just see him playing. He just doesn't play with any kind of... He doesn't look happy. I know that they're getting paid and this is a job, but it is a game.
Yeah.
You have to look like you're having some kind of fun. Like, I could tell you what I'd love to and at the same time not want to listen to is their comms.
Yeah.
Because I could only imagine it's like a comedian with no jokes.
Or it could just be like that really passive-aggressive roommate,
Oh, no.
He's like, oh, go ahead and take that CS. I didn't really need it.
So Reckless is considering he's probably going to leave, so he's considering his options, one of which, apparently he would like to go back to Fnatic. Now, they say you can't go back home, and I'd have to agree with that. He has no business being on Fnatic at this point in time.
No. Fnatic's super stable. They're looking good.
Yeah.
They taught a Korean English.
Exactly. So. They're expanding people's minds.
Yeah.
I mean, while I agree that Reckless, yes, he's a much better ADC than Steelback. I don't think that's going to be an argument that's even worth having. He doesn't fit their team. He had his chance when Fnatic. Everyone jumped ship after the end of last season, and it was Yellow Star who was definitely there, and Reckless who was there but considering leaving. It was like, okay, you have a chance to build this team in your own image, however you want to put it together. No, you went with the easy way, you went with the super team. Now, that's it. You chose your path.
When has a super team ever worked in Europe? Ever.
Never. It doesn't work.
Never worked. At least Element is kind of keeping it together, and they're not going like ninjas in pajamas and just totally imploding.
Really? Because they've made like 5 roster moves in a single split.
That's exploding. That's different.
I guess. But yeah, it's they changed their top laner twice. They moved their support to coach. They picked up a support who was playing in America. They're considering moving their top laner their mid laner to top lane because that brings us to our next thing. Incarnation is now available.
Ugh.
The trolliest of trolls.
Not even just a troll, a known DDoSer.
Yeah, who was permabanned. Now, listen, I'm no mathematician, I'm no English syntologist, but when I hear the word perma, I thought that meant forever.
No, perma actually comes from the Latin root word meaning temporary.
Gotcha.
It's like an Iceland, Greenland.
Got you. That makes sense now. That's why I need you, because you are the information man.
Yeah.
You are my fact checker.
It's on Wikipedia. You can check it out.
So apparently, perma, which is Latin for temporary,
yes,
means incarnation is back. And I mean, when it was mentioned earlier this year before the season started that Riot was considering letting him back in, it was like, really? And then they did, and immediately everybody went crazy. Elements Incarnation, C9 Incarnation, CLG Incarnation, East Coast Servers Incarnation.
Well, just to hop on that, there was a post on April 1st saying Incarnation was joining Cloud9.
That was not an April Fool's joke, though.
Why would they post it then?
They did talk to him because if you look on Reddit now, you'll see Thorin talks about it.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty good video. I listened to that. If you want a little summary,
please, if you'd like to, go on.
So, if you've watched Thorin enough, he's got a huge bony macaroni for Korean teams, Chinese teams, and Cloud9.
It is really weird.
It's kind of strange, which, I love Cloud9. I get it. I know, I understand. But he was breaking down the pros and cons of benching high and picking up Incarnation and how it could, on paper, be a good move. All of it kind of hinges on the fact that Incarnation would have to kind of holster the ego and play Cloud9's game and not.
Well, you'd have to fall in line, basically.
Yeah. You'd have to, because they would have to pick up shot calling from Meteos and Lemonation, which they could probably handle. So they would lose some shot calling there. But if you can kind of substitute that with more mechanics or a better player in general, then you could come out with a win overall, or you could come out with a toxic fuck on your team that's now on a year-long contract.
Yeah, exactly. It all depends on which Incarnation shows up. I am of the mindset that once you're a troll, you're always a troll. I know that there are stories, and, there are reformed trolls. Ocelot was one of the top 5% trolls, and he became a not troll. He's still a troll, man. Listen, I love Ocelot. I'm a big Ocelot fan. I respect what he's done and how he's branded himself. Yeah. I think that's huge. But the guy...
Scarves.
Yeah, loves scarves. The guy, though, is definitely still a troll. Maybe not as bad as he was, but listen, it doesn't go away.
Yeah.
If you're that toxic of a player, it doesn't go away. He DDoSed people, Incarnation, not Ocelot. Yeah. He DDoSed people. You're like the biggest scumbag that this community hates. Yeah. I don't understand where it's like, oh, give him another chance.
I don't... You know who's saying that, though? It's trolls that are permabans.
Exactly. The same
majority.
Assholes and losers that are chat restricted now.
The same people that go on Reddit and be like, hey, Light, I don't know why I got banned. I only told this guy to murder himself 10 times. I thought the limit was 15 times. I don't know what happened. Prove it.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. So now, like I said, with Incarnation, he's had apparently a cup of coffee with C9. He's apparently had a cup of coffee with Elements. CLG apparently was in the mix early on, but not, I guess, according to Hotshot.
They were looking at him. I think they were looking at him.
I think that's a trigger that they should have pulled. Link
couldn't have been bad.
I don't think it would have. I don't think it could have made them into a worse organization.
At the minimum, it would kicked Link in the pants and maybe get him to practice every now and then.
But the interesting move is, like I had mentioned, is if he goes to Elements, which it is heavily rumored that that's where he's going, because of a tweet that Elements manager had made about saying that, because there was comments that saying that they didn't think anyone would outbid the Americans for Incarnation, and then Elements manager tweeted that's not necessarily true, or something to that effect.
Ooh.
Kind of ... It's like, well, is he saying that they outbid them? I guess we'll have to see. And with there being so much influx on Elements, you're moving Froggen to top lane, who now they're already trying to rationalize, well, Froggen's heavy farming, controlled play is perfect for top lane. It's like, well, yeah, but he doesn't play top lane champions.
No. Well, he probably plays Lysandra.
Yeah, but, I don't know. I don't like that move. I get where it makes sense when you rationalize it out. I don't like it. I think it's a bad move for a team that has no identity and has no idea what it wants to do.
Yeah, the problem I have with it, it's not hard for Froggen to deepen his champion pool. He's
listen, great players can play champions. Yeah. If you're a great player, moving to any position shouldn't. Look at that time, right. Way back when Krepa went mid and Froggen went support, and it was amazing.
Yeah. Or that time Mad Life and someone else did it in Champions.
Yeah.
Someone else on CJ. I don't know, but they switched roles, and that was pretty funny too.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Just for a throwaway game.
Yeah, but good. But the point is that good players, champion pool doesn't matter.
So he could totally deepen his pool. The problem I have with it is that Froggen's the shot caller for that team, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, so it's pretty tough to shot call.
Actually, no,
Oh,
he's not. Crepo is.
Oh, right, they pulled on Crepo.
That's right.
Well, then it's totally fine. Put him in top lane. Let him play God of War.
It should let him play God of War in top lane, single player mode.
Yeah.
And I just find it to be very, very interesting that they're going to kind of go that route. That really the most solid player on their team they're going to throw. I mean, I guess it makes sense because their top lane is a disaster between Wicked and Kevin.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no winning there.
Well,
so
the
I
team's
guess
a disaster right now.
Well, yeah, I don't think it's going to get any better with this because with Reckless now leaving, what does that put you? Well, Tabs is now going to be next man up.
Woo, again.
Exactly. Okay, great. So we're going to bring back Tabs, who you jettisoned from your team because Reckless was the better choice. Well, now Tabs is back. You think he's going to be super excited about that, playing with a bunch of guys who voted him off the island?
Yeah, he's totally got to be excited.
Right? I mean, it's like 3 months ago I wasn't good enough to be on your team, but now I'm good enough.
You know what's going to happen.
I mean, yeah, they're going to suck again.
They're going to suck, and then they're going to blame Tabs.
Probably. I heard Yellow Pete's available.
Right? Bring him back on.
I'm saying they're gonna have Froggen, Crepo. You know, might as well keep pulling CLG EU players back in. Snoopy's not playing. Shook hasn't been very good, so replace him there.
Yeah.
Fuck it. It's just amazing because they're a team that with no identity. It's just like it's a terrible, horrible carousel in an amusement park run by the Joker.
I think it's strange that these teams keep going back to these old guard players that haven't improved since Season 2 or Season 3, when they really have a lot of talent in the Challenger scene.
Look at Origin. Origin had a chance to pick up Tabs as their ADC. Who'd they go with? They went with Niels.
Yeah.
Look at Fnatic.
Fresh.
Yeah, look at Fnatic. They had a chance to pick up Tabs as their ADC. Who did they go with? Steelback, because he was young and new and unknown.
And hungry.
Yeah, exactly. They want to make I mean, when's Pushu getting picked up, you know?
I miss Pushu. He was so good.
He was really good. I remember. He was really good.
Yeah.
I think he's actually like going to school now, I think.
Yeah, I think he kind of hung up the mouse and keyboard for a while.
Yeah, well, good for him. At least he had something to fall back on. Back to Reckless now, which ties into the whole Forgiven being completely just absolutely fed up with SK, which I guess I'd be pissed off too if my team was first place and you know it's like,
primed to win the split.
Yeah, like really, like what's your problem, dude?
I don't know.
I know what his problem is. He's a jerk off. Like I said earlier, yeah, he hates his support because N-rated is quote unquote old.
Yeah. He's so old. I think I know what Forgiven needs to do. He needs to do
shut his mouth and play.
Well, that, but to actually fix his dumb big Greek head, he needs to do what the North American StarCraft 2 pros used to do when they got too big for their pond. They would go to Korea for like a month or two, get their ass handed to them, and be total failures, and then come back to North America and be like, hey, but this isn't so bad. So,
but the thing is like, but now because Korea has definitely been, I guess, is somewhat humbled in a sense. I don't think he would get dumpstered in Korea. I think he'd be a maybe not a top ADC, but I think he'd definitely be top 10.
Well, then he has a better chance at going to Worlds. It's really win-win.
Exactly. It probably is what you should do. But the thing is, okay. So Reckless is considering joining SK because Forgiven's going to leave SK. Where's Forgiven going to go in all this then? He's the man without a team. Because if Elements is going with Tabs and Reckless is going to go to SK and then Fnatic is sticking with Steelback, where's he going to end up? Rocket? They don't have a team anymore. They're a horror fry. They're a horror show.
Rocket is dropping Woolite probably.
Rocket's like full on imploding.
Well, they have a spot. It's going to build a team.
So it's going to be very interesting to see this horrible roller coaster of players going all over the place. And all on top of that, at the end of the summer split, High is probably not going to be on C9 anymore.
Might retire.
He should probably retire.
He's hurt, man.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a bad player, but he just can't play anymore.
He's just hurt.
Listen, man, the usage of your wrists affects your gameplay.
Yeah.
At some point you have to think what's best for the team and what's best for yourself.
And it's okay, I still love you, High. But it's okay.
And you have a very successful business to run.
You had a good career, too. It's not
Solid
like
run.
you know, were floundering for all of it. No, you went to Worlds twice. You didn't do great at Worlds, but you still went. That's saying a lot.
My problem with High is his hypersensitivity.
I don't think he's that sensitive.
You don't have. Then you haven't read his blog.
I did read it, and he had some good points.
Yeah, sure, his points. But I would like to actually stop and take this time to say that we are going to do a little symposium, if you will. This has been a hot topic ever since the High post and that weird Riot video about Cop, about the league players and kind of how the community, I guess, views them and interacts with them. Me and Pan are going to kind of give our sides of the story, and I guess you as a listener can take it for what it is. We're not going to break each other down. I'm not going to analyze him. He's not going to analyze me. We're not going to argue back and forth about it. I want to genuinely hear what he has to say, and he genuinely wants to hear what I have to say.
I don't.
I'm just saying it for the listener because I am going to shred you like mozzarella cheese on a grater.
Probably.
So get ready to sit on my pizza.
But
that is a weird statement, by the way.
Write that down.
That is a good one. I'm going to save that for later.
I'm also way nicer than you, so that kind of makes sense.
You could use the term nice all you want. I'm real.
I will. Nice.
So
Polite.
I will let you, since being the gentleman that I am, I will let you pose your opinion first.
Okay. Let's
Please.
I'll start off by as kind of a summary. So High's blog and that awkward Riot video starring Comp was basically saying that the community's interaction with pro players is overwhelmingly negative. It doesn't matter if a pro is just doing okay, or if they're maybe in a slump, or if they're even doing pretty good. The loudest voices on Twitter and Facebook and Reddit and social media are always so negative that it's difficult to hear any of the positivity. You can't hear your fans over your trolls and your haters. And their stance is, and also my stance, is that we should all just be a little bit nicer. Maybe don't tell High that his mom should go back in time and have an abortion. Or maybe don't tell Cop that he should chop off his hands because he didn't get that double kill. That seems like a pretty good idea. I know that this has been ingrained in sports for so long. You're always supposed to trash talk the people that you don't like, or if your team isn't doing well, you're supposed to pick at them until they do what you want, because the fans have always known best. I think historically that might be proven. I don't know. I'm not super into sports. You can comment on that one and kind of illuminate us later. But I just think people should be more supportive and nicer. And of course you can critique, but, cut them some slack every now and then. Keep it in one thread. Keep all that shit spewing in, one, I fucking hate High thread, or Comp sucks balls thread, and then they can just avoid that thread, and they can continue to interact with the people that actually want to interact with them, and kind of ignore all the vitriol that comes out of the most vocal minority. That's it. You can go.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that I just wanted to give you your room.
The end.
So the end. Well said.
I thought that was pretty good.
No, I like what you have to say.
Yeah.
I disagree with it, but I like what you have to say.
Yeah.
Now, allow me to take the mic, if you will.
Yeah, I just dropped it. It's on the floor there for you.
Right. Oh, don't worry. There'll be some mic dropping. I'm going to drop a pipe bomb on you, son. So, my issue is the moment you put yourself out there in organized sports, whether it's baseball, football, hockey, basketball, water polo, it doesn't matter what it is. When you put yourself out there as a professional in your selected sport, which League of Legends is now considered a sport in North America, you are putting a target on you. It's not right, and I don't agree with it, but it's also not something that I started or that the League of Legends community started. There are going to be haters, because what you need to understand is, as a professional athlete and as a paid athlete, regardless of what your discipline is, there are people that are going to vicariously live through you. It's a fantasy. They are not good enough to do what you do, so they are going to vicariously live through you, through your actions, through everything that you do. They will follow you, and when you are great, they will love you. And when you are terrible, they will vilify you. And yeah, you want to know what? It would be great if this world that we lived in, when you screwed up or when you played bad, that they just critiqued you on what you did wrong. Unfortunately, we don't live in Candyland. That is not the way things work. It's not the right way, but being told that 9 million people fucked your mother is, unfortunately, that's what you have to deal with. Guys like High, guys like Cop. Yeah, you want to know what? When they were growing up, when they were younger, before they became quote-unquote celebrities, maybe they were socially outcast. Maybe they were either super introverted. And yeah, that sucks to be put, thrust into a situation where you're now, really popular and really visible, and then people are hating on you. And they're hating on you on Twitter. They're hating you on Reddit. They're hating you on Facebook. They're hating you on Tumblr. They're hating you on things that are social media that you even know existed. There's one way to handle that. You don't deal with it. You don't read it. You don't answer it. You just don't. You can't give it the time of day. And High was even saying, oh, well, everyone says not to pay attention to it, but, we have to be visible in our community. Who said? You choose to be visible. You choose to respond to this stuff. And going onto your blog and sitting there and saying, oh, man, I wish the community would be nicer, all you're doing is feeding the trolls. All you're doing is feeding the machine of the vocal minority that is just lambasting you for everything that you do wrong and pointing out things that have nothing to do with gameplay. That's what's going to happen. I mean, when Hank Aaron in baseball was chasing Babe Ruth's home run record, he was, there were death threats out on him. Yeah, because he was black, but also because Babe Ruth, his record was so sacred. When Roger Maris was chasing Babe Ruth's single-season home run record, there were people that threatened to kill his family. What does that have to do with baseball? Nothing. What does that have to do with sports? Nothing. But these are passionate, quote-unquote, fans. They're not right, but they're fans. There isn't a single sport that exists on planet Earth where death threats and horrible, horrible things aren't said every single day. You want to see terrible things said about people? Become a soccer fan, where the referees have to fear for their lives every single game that they referee for in a big match, where when they're a World Cup referee, they have to be hidden because of what could possibly happen. So the fact is, fans of anything are insane, and a lot of them are wrong. And what they do is wrong. But you have to sit there and you have to have a thick skin. And yeah, maybe it's easy for me to say that because I'm a nobody. But you want to know what? It's what you signed up on. It's what and another high argument was, oh, well, they say that all athletes have to deal with this. Well, these athletes get paid a lot more than us. Well, what you get paid should have nothing to do with it. You're getting paid to play a game. You're getting paid to do something that there are 27 million people out there that sign on every day wish that they could do. And you're doing it as your job. So, yeah, unfortunately, you did sign up for this. Whether or not you think you did, you signed up for this. The moment you put yourself on a stream in front of hundreds of thousands of people to play for a world championship that only one team can win. You put yourself out there, you're gonna get the hate. There's nothing you can do to stop it, other than not giving it the time of day. And I feel bad, and it makes me sound kind of like a jerk, but yeah, crying about it on your blog isn't going to fix it. All it's going to do is just prove that they're right, because they're getting to you, because that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to get under your skin, and they did. And yeah, maybe they took a really bad way around to do it, but they accomplished it. You've made them right. You've made them what they did completely. It validates their existence at this point, because you've taken to the internet to combat it, and that was silly. That was a bad move. And when any of these pros respond, I think it's a bad move. And listen, as a not lover of Dyrus, I like how Dyrus handles himself. He's incredibly glib. He doesn't take himself very seriously. And yeah, he communicates on Reddit constantly. And people just blast him and say horrible things to him. He just lets it roll off his back. I think players like Cop, I think players like High, I think, they're just very sensitive people. I mean, look at St. Vicious. Everyone hates St. Vicious. But St. Vicious doesn't let it get him down because he just goes to work and puts his helmet on and, puts his hard hat on and gets his, his jackhammer and goes to work every day. Yeah, St. Vicious is a shitty jungler sometimes. Sure, he sucks at smiting, right? I'm doing right now what some of these pros can't handle. But guess what? It's not going to stop him from playing his game, and it's not going to stop him from being a pro. And the moment you start letting it get to you is the moment you let them win. So if you're too sensitive to handle what people say about you on social media, maybe you should go back to being a nobody. Maybe you should stop playing a game that pays for your life, that created you, that made you the celebrity that you are, and go back to being a social outcast. I guarantee you will not like it. I can assure you of that. And that is my piece.
Whoa. It's way harsh, Ty.
It's harsh, but it's real. Yeah, I agree. It should be that way, but it is. We're not going to be able to stop it.
I want to do one quick little rebuttal.
Okay, please.
And it's just, I actually agree with a lot of what you said. Although what you say sounds so much like victim blaming, it's awful.
It is.
Anyways,
I agree. It sounds like victim blaming.
Well,
but
because it is victim blaming.
Yes, but unfortunately, that's what it is. You can't attack every single person and you can't stop it. That's the thing. No. You cannot stop it.
Maybe one day in the future when we all have to have our faces and social security number attached to our Reddit accounts like in Korea.
Yeah, and we all hold hands and we all sing Kumbaya and we live in Candyland. Yeah, I get it. Then it won't happen.
I can dream. Anyways, my rebuttal is that the problem is some of these pros make their money through community and interaction, through streams and through Twitch chat and through, being out there. They can accumulate more fans and accumulate more ad views and more page views. That's kind of their job. As far as it's not just playing, it's also keeping people coming to your team and, being exposed. You have to be exposed because the only reason you're getting a salary, honestly, is because of sponsorships.
I agree, and I'm not saying not to be out there and not to be exposed. What I'm saying is, no matter what you do, there's going to be haters.
Yeah, there's always going to be haters. So you have to be out there, right? That's kind of your job, is to be out there. But you also have to ignore all the shit that's being thrown your way. But the community as a whole typically wants that interaction, right? They want to be able to talk to their pros, but if they're just throwing shit so much, and the pros aren't going to respond to it, so it's, a self-defeating ideal.
No, and that's why I call them the vocal minority.
Yeah.
It's not the majority of players and people and fans that are like that. That's never been the case. And again, in any sport, it's not the majority of the fan that is threatening to kill your family and wishes you were aborted and wants you to cut your hands off. It's definitely the vocal minority. Unfortunately for these pros, those are what they're reading.
Well, I mean, it's just a lot of it. It's tough not to.
No, I agree it's hard not to, but,
So what's going to happen is we're going to lose all of this kind of personal interaction, and we're going to get just press conferences where they give try to be a good teammate and play on a good team, and I think the team played well today. That's what we're going to get. We're going to get that, and we're not going to like it, and then we're going to spew more shit at the pros because they're not real.
Which is the inevitable.
So stop being a dick, Internet. Moral of the story.
Yeah, baseball used to not be that way. Baseball, the fans and the players used to interact like human beings. They can't anymore because the relationship has been separated. There's too much of a divide between being a professional and being a fan, and that divide is mostly because of money.
Yeah?
Yeah, High's like, most of us don't even make six figures. Well, a lot of people don't make six figures, High. If that's your argument.
That little point in his blog kind of pissed me off because becoming a pro gamer is not lucrative at all, and it's so high risk that so few people do it.
No, it's absolutely difficult to do it.
You don't become a pro for the money, ever.
No, and you shouldn't become a pro for anything for the money. You do it because you love what you do.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying.
Like one of those really niche positions where you can just kind of squeak out six figures, but you don't really have to work that hard.
I don't think there's ever a situation where you do not have to work hard. I think everyone...
Work that hard.
That being said,
You don't have to be Derek Jeter to be on a baseball team.
no, but you have to remember that how many people in America and around the world play baseball, and how many spots are there on a professional team? There are only 25-man rosters, and there's only 31, 32 teams in the major leagues.
Yeah, so just be a little bit better than the worst guy in the league, and you can make a lot of money.
Do you know what that means, though? That means you're in the top 1% of all baseball players on the planet.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
not
it's
bad.
tough. Yeah, top 1%.
You get to feel good, too.
Yeah, exactly. You get right in the fields.
I picked
But
the wrong field, man.
It's. I mean, I do feel bad. I genuinely feel bad because I know a lot of these kids, and I call them kids because I'm older than most of them. And
True, you are very old.
but I know a lot of these kids were outcasts in school, and they were, the kids that were either picked on or that nobody talked to because they're super introverted or just really, really shy, or just they have difficulty interacting with people for whatever reason. And gaming was their outlet, and it became a lucrative outlet for them. But it's very difficult to be thrust into that situation for some of them.
It's
And
difficult, I think, for anyone to be thrust that because it happens so quickly. You don't
Sure.
get
But the
time
thing is
to
that
acclimate to the spotlight.
The thing is you have to assume the moment you're attempting to go pro, you always have to have it in your mind that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
That's why they were able to succeed, because they believed that it could happen. It didn't just happen accidentally. That's why these people become professional athletes, because they believe in themselves. So at any moment, they knew that it would have been their time to kind of step up. And I mean, listen, it's not like this is season 1. They got big in season 3 when League was getting much more popular, and then through season 4, I mean, they saw the writing on the wall. Yeah, there was no shit slinging at High when they were 27-2 between two splits and stuff. But yeah, when things go bad, sure, that, like I said, it's a fantasy for people. They're vicariously living through you. You're letting them down.
I still support them.
And you want to know what? And I can appreciate that. And I still support these teams. And I support all of them in some way, shape, or form, because they're doing something that when I was that age, I wish was something I could have done. I wouldn't have been able to, but it's something I wish I could have done.
Yeah.
But, am I still going to throw hate towards I Will Dominate's way? Yeah, absolutely, because I think he's a little douche.
Yeah, but you don't go making Reddit posts about it.
No, well, because I'm not a child.
Right? Having conversations amongst your friends and smack-talking pros is not hurting anyone.
No, and again, I'm on the side of where High's like, I wish you would just criticize my game and criticize how I play. And I can respect that, but like I said, it's not going to happen. Let's just really, stop this, circular argument and say it's not going to happen because the internet exists.
I do agree that it probably would have been better off if he had just not written the blog, but if you want something to change, you at least have to try and change it.
No, and I agree that it's nice that, he was strong enough to post this blog.
Yeah.
I think it was a terrible idea. I think it was
Not a great
absolutely terrible idea because crying on the internet never solved anything, and it only feeds the trolls. I'm amazed how little trolling this has gotten, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, that's true. Speaking of crying on the internet, hey, look at that. I think we are going to move on to that post that hit the front page of Reddit on that Dota player calling the League community spineless.
Oh, that was harsh.
Yeah.
And it was harsh in a not harsh way because that guy was a little dickbag.
He was a little dickbag and has zero understanding on how this game works.
First of all,
he plays Dota. So
yeah, first of all, the Dota community, and I've played Dota. I attempted to like it. It has its merit. I just don't enjoy it.
Not fun.
First of all, Dota is made by Valve, correct?
Yeah.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, that was about a month ago. Valve was considered having one of the worst customer service departments of any business, not just of video games, of any business.
We should probably go into why he called us spineless. If we're going to delve deeper.
I will let you get to
Okay.
that. I was just setting up where, because he was bashing Riot and like, oh, you guys shouldn't stand for what you're getting and stuff like that.
Because what we're getting is apparently terrible.
Yeah, because it's ridiculous, and they're saying how all the champions in Dota are free, and for Smite, for $30 you get all the champions. Well, if you create a game that comes out 2 years or 3 years or 4 years after the biggest game in your entire genre, are you going to follow their business model identically? No, because then you'd be the worst fucking business ever. Because what's the point of supporting your business if you're just doing the same thing as the next guy, but you're just newer?
Yeah.
There's and for people to use that as an argument, you either don't know shit about business or you just don't know shit.
Probably the latter.
So either one of those aren't particularly flattering estimations of your understanding of things. No. So it's just a ridiculous notion, and I will now give you the floor to explain why we are quote-unquote spineless.
So we are spineless because we keep paying money to this super evil corporation known as Riot, even though they don't give us anything for it. Apparently they're just stealing all of our money. I'm not really sure how that works, but I definitely have less money because of them, and the only thing I've ever gotten is like skins that I like to play with, so maybe I'm missing something here. But we're spineless because we don't boycott Riot because they don't give us things like a brand new client, or they don't give us a replay system, or they don't fix quote-unquote game-breaking bugs like Hecarim in Earth mode. So it's things like these, that Riot doesn't provide for us that we very clearly, desperately need as the most popular and largest game in the world. So we should boycott them, right? The whole community.
And I laugh because, you want to know what? I want a new client. I want replay mode. I want all these things. Do you want to know why we haven't gotten them? Because they're not perfect yet.
Yeah, and
because
they're fucking hard to do.
Yeah, because Riot as a company are incredibly successful because they don't just push shit out.
And also still pretty small. Let's keep that in mind. Like, Riot has a good amount of money. They're profitable every year. Their game keeps growing. But their team's still pretty small. I
mean, they have quite a few employees.
Yeah, but compared to Valve?
I would be able to compare them to Valve. They're over 500 employees.
That are all on art and coding, like asset development?
No. They're on.
I'm not including customer service or moderation or web development. I'm including art and game development.
I would put them around the same size as Valve. You have to remember, Valve doesn't make that many games either.
They develop a huge store system. They at least have more programmers working on their.
Sure, regardless, that's not even the argument or the situation in question. Yeah. The fact is they are very protective of their IP, and
Valve or Riot?
Riot. Sorry,
yes.
I'm back on my thing. Riot is very protective of their IP, and they care a lot about their fan base. So much so that they interact with them constantly on either Reddit or on their own forums, or even in games where they're playing with them. Riot as a company is far more involved with their community than most any other game company I have ever dealt with in my life.
Yeah, and not evil either.
No.
I don't know why people think Riot is so freaking evil. It's a free-to-play game.
Because they like money? Because they're a company that wants to turn a profit?
And they leave money on the table, too. Yeah, they can charge whatever they wanted for skins.
If that makes you evil, then you really are a ridiculous person, because... they're a game company that needs money to continue to produce high-quality assets for the game that you love. The game that you play, the game that you and 27 million other people log into every single day and complain about every single day. And what do? They don't kick you out. They don't stop you from playing. No, they let you complain. They take your complaints into some sort of a database, either mental or physical, depending on where it is, and they assess it. You think everyone complains about a champion and they don't fix it? No, they do. You think everyone complains that, Summoner's Rift needs an update. What do? They updated Summoner's Rift.
Really well.
Yeah.
It's
everyone
so good looking, especially if you look at videos from before the update. It was hella ugly.
Yeah, and and people now complain. Oh well, like Dominion is such an outdated game. Well, that's because Dominion isn't what 27 million people are logging in to play.
Yeah, and updating a map is fucking hard. Oh my god, you guys, it's so hard.
And also, what are they doing? everyone complains about their ping and their latency. So what are they doing? They're building an entire new infrastructure to help try and combat that, which is no small feat. Everyone is complaining about the client. What did they do? They bought a company that was designing like some kind of client system,
You may
and
not
they're
want to bring that up.
What's up?
A lot of the rumor is they bought the opposing client and system just to kill it, so that people would stop modding their own clients.
Oh, that's interesting.
That one was a little shady. They did hire the girl that developed the new client, but they have also come out in the past publicly stating that we're not developing a new client. It's not happening.
There was a
Married
post.
to Adobe
There was a post on it where they said they were developing a new client.
I think it's always going to be Adobe Air, though.
I don't know about it being Adobe Air or nothing, but they said that they were working on something. Regardless, it's all still hearsay because nothing has happened.
Right.
I don't believe that they will stick with the same client forever because the game will get
League of
too
Legends
big.
2 will come out.
Well, yeah, but regardless, the long and short of it is they're not an evil company. They care about keeping their game and keeping their customers happy because they're not stupid.
Also, can we stop making threads about the replay system? It's not gonna happen.
Right? Get over it.
I mean, there's a replay system out there. Use it if you really want replays. But other than that, it's not gonna happen.
Also, again, there are more important things that I care about other than a replay system. I don't need to see me wander into the jungle and get killed because I face-checked the bush. I don't need to see that again. I'm aware that it happened. I don't want someone to go, hey, remember that time you did this and link me the video to it? No, please don't. I'll
that
pass.
Sounds kind of good, though.
I'll pass on that. Thanks, but no thanks. Long and short, Riot is not evil.
Yeah.
I don't think... I know it's the cool thing to do to bash Riot because everyone else on Reddit does it, but... And listen, yeah, everyone has a beef with something they do. I have a beef with something they do. I mean, they didn't hire me. I have beef with that.
Yeah, there's that. I didn't even apply and they didn't hire me. God.
Those motherfuckers.
Evil company.
Evil.
I think the thing that really gets me is that I've played a lot of MOBAs and a lot of free-to-play games.
Sure.
And this is the only one that I've actually committed to and made it to 30 and then kept playing.
It's the World of Warcraft of MOBAs. Call it what it is.
And it feels good. I mean, the first time I did it, I'm never doing it again. But, it felt good to level and get up there and play bots. And once I understood runes, they weren't that expensive. Once I, needed a champion, I just played the game until I could get that champion. Because there's such a healthy rotation of free champions coming out that there's always something to play in some role to generate IP.
And community. You said that, and I don't mean to jump right into there, but you just said that. You set off a time bomb. Community, please, stop complaining how difficult it is to get IP.
Oh my god, it's not that difficult.
Please, stop complaining. They're not going to give you 100 free champions just because you signed up and have a level 5 character. It's not going to happen. Every single person who's played the game since first season, since beta, has had to go through the same horrible doldrums that you have. Only difference is now you get you probably have gotten a lot more IP boosts than they did, and you've didn't have to buy dodge runes.
They used to have double IP weekends.
Oh yeah, that's true. Okay, so you're getting screwed on IP sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
But the fact is, everyone before you had to do the same exact thing. You are not a special individual snowflake. You are another cog in this machine that is League of Legends. Get to level 30, stop crying. You will get your runes. You will get your champions. You will buy RP for skins. You will have everything everyone else in this game has. Just because you hit 30 yesterday doesn't mean that you should have every champion and all the runes. Oh my god.
Or you know what? Don't buy RP or don't play the game. I don't give a fuck.
No, I agree, and it's ridiculous. I can't stand seeing that, and I can't tell you how many downvotes on Reddit I've gotten for saying that. But it just drives me absolutely nuts. I'm sorry.
Just don't buy RP. Like this is such a not pay to win game that you legitimately never have to buy RP.
Although I have to say, League of Legends is the most expensive free game that exists.
Oh my god, so free.
It is the most not free game because of enjoying playing it. Because
and
you want
it's pretty. I like the skins.
Yeah, because you know what? When I play Shyvana, I want her to look like a bone dragon. I don't want her to look like regular Shyvana.
Yeah.
When
I play Jinx, I want her to look like she's a flapper. I don't want regular Jinx.
I want her to do the Charleston when I go back. I don't want to just have her stand there.
That shit's dope.
Yeah, keep it coming, Riot.
Keep it
We
coming.
here
I'll
at
buy
Tower
it.
Dive support you in all of your evil ways.
I bought the Bard skin before I even played him.
I bought Bard. That should be enough. Fuck that guy.
And I even still have one refund token. I could have refunded. I'm not gonna, because I think that's a dope-ass skin.
I refunded Nautilus for IP a really long time ago.
No. Oh, a mistake.
That was. If I could refund that refund, I would. It was a mistake. But
Nautilus is so good now too. He
But
messed
I know
up.
it. I know. I just bought him yesterday again. Classic Hooks maneuver.
Yeah.
Refund champion 2 years ago. Rebuy champion. But at least I bought him for IP again.
Yeah,
I didn't like I spent on
IP.
so it was like net gain, lost nothing.
Yep. Well, net
So-
loss. You lost the token.
Well, yeah. But I deserve to lose it because that was stupid. I wish I knew what I ended up buying with that 6300 IP that I got back. It was probably something not worth.
Probably not.
So that pretty much wraps up, I think, what we've got going here tonight.
Yeah.
Did you have anything else that you wanted to say?
You want to do solo queue advice?
Oh, yes. Thank
Yeah.
you. Solo queue advice. I am no longer in Bronze 2.
Oh.
I am now in Bronze 1.
Congratulations. I thought you were going to say Bronze 3.
It could have been. It might. Trust me, my promotion games were two of the longest, worst games that were ever. If there was a replay system, those would have been on YouTube, and I would have been a YouTube icon because go in
emo games.
Zyra support. I was playing Castle Crashers. It was all tower defense. It was just plants in front of towers, throwing them, please stop. So I got promoted. So my advice to you is play Zyra support. You shouldn't because it's a tank meta. But if you have to defend a tower, there's not a single better champion. Because respect the plants. No one respects the plants.
They don't.
They think they can just run right past them. And you know what they can't do? Run right past them.
Nope.
Because it's like the Jinx is like, oh, I'm going to get excited. I'm going to kill you under the tower. I'm like, no, you're not. Seed. Go, minions. And then they die. And then she dies. And then I laugh. Because then I leveled up. And then I teabag her.
Aww.
So, if you're not into the tank meta, go with the Zyra meta. It'll get you out of bronze.
Maybe.
I can't promise you how much further out of bronze it'll get you, but it'll get you out of it.
My advice would be to upgrade your trinket. You guys. It's 250 gold, and it pretty
Level
much
9.
gives you a sight
Level
stone
9.
at level 9. If you're in a role that's not support, you're gonna have 250 gold extra after buying an item. Just upgrade the trinket, and don't you dare upgrade it to that pink ward trinket. Good grief. Get the good trinket, drop some wards, help me help you.
I did that on accident one time.
God.
I picked the wrong one, I dropped it and go, what the fuck is this? I was like, this isn't what I wanted. So, yeah, no, I agree. Please, please, please upgrade your trinkets, because Lord knows you're not warding.
Yeah, right?
When I look up at top lane and
You're
it's
not
just,
buying wards.
it's just a sea of black. I know you're not buying wards. You got 3 free in that trinket. Just use them. You get to level 9, you have a spare 250 gold. Use it.
Sell your goddamn Doran shield. Upgrade your trinket.
I support this advice.
Yeah, write that down.
Right, save that one, put it on a sticky note, put it on your desk, look at it every time. And if you don't do it, I'm gonna smack you in the hand with a ruler.
Get a tattoo, put it under your collarbone in like a sweet gothic font. Upgrade trinket.
A specific, like a serif font, definitely.
Yeah, but one of those that you see on a graduation or something with a lot of lines and stuff going through it, nice and angly and pointy.
I like it. It. It's got style.
Yeah.
All right, that basically brings us to the end of our show. Thank you guys so much for listening. I am Captain Hooks.
I am Pan the Man.
And we will see you on the Rift.
Bye-bye.